This, you are quite literally the weapon that is fashioned against yourself. You are your biggest red flag, because tell me why you will not do the things that are good for you that will ensure your success. Maybe that weapon is procrastination, not your haters. Maybe it is your need for comfort. Maybe it's your inconsistency. You said you wanted a new job, but you're sitting down complaining about your boss instead of applying to job boards. You want a lorry heavy body, but you're just sitting on Indomie and vibes. You want to build a profitable business, but you will not invest in systems. You want to marry a God-fearing man, but you're sitting, passing it down in the club. You're literally sabotaging yourself. Now, we don't want to look back at the end of 2026 and wonder, where did the time go? What happened? All you need to do are micro habits that would ensure your success. That will mean that every little thing you do compounds and overall adds to your success. So in this video, we are going to talk about 6 micro habits that will help elevate you starting from today. Whenever you watch this video, you want to start immediately incorporating these micro habits, because they would help you to elevate and to make sure that 2026 is not just vibes. It's not just God knows my heart. It's not just we'll see what happens. But you look back in the mirror at the end of 2026 and say, yeah, I did that. I fixed my procrastination. I faced my indecision. I faced my circle. You're going to be able to show up and show out and be the best version of yourself. Let's get into the video. The first micro habit you're going to build is to have non-negotiables. You need to have things that you will not compromise on. And personally, I would suggest that you do this daily, weekly, and monthly. I chose 3 areas for my daily non-negotiables: spiritual, physical, and mental. So spiritually, since January 2026, I would do my Bible study every day for 30 minutes. I have a perfect time for that. That's 5 a.m. And every time that I have been able to do it at 5 a.m., it sets the tone for every one of them. It is perfect. Occasionally, when things have happened, I have had to move it to later in the day. And so I also do not make it very outcome-based, like walk 10,000 steps. It's more about the habit, move my body for 30 minutes a day. All the other fluff can be added to it, but you want to focus on building the non-negotiables that will set you up for success. Then I also have a mental non-negotiable, and that is for 15 minutes. So spiritual for 30 minutes, physical for 30 minutes, and then 15 minutes for mental. That is intentional mental, because throughout the day I'm also filling up mentally, but intentional mental in the morning is 15 minutes of study. And that means either not a podcast, and that means studying French, chess, or math. And I do this every morning for 15 minutes. Or I read a book for 15 minutes. Actually, what I've ended up doing is I do both. The French or math in the morning and then reading later in the day. And those non-negotiables are my daily non-negotiables. Second thing I put in place is a weekly non-negotiable. And for me, that is weekly reviews. Because if you're not looking at your goals at the end of the year, you're going to sit down and think, where did they go? You would forget them because you're not seeing them, you're not looking at them, and so you end up forgetting them. So have a weekly check-in where you look at your goals and see the progress that you have made towards your goals. My other weekly non-negotiable is also a spiritual non-negotiable, and that is to have 1 weekly spiritual fast. And I put this on Friday, the day that I was born. And so I make it easy to reach the non-negotiable because I make it easy to remember. Considering your micro habits, make sure there are things that will be easy to do or they are stacked so that it's easy for you to follow through. I've got monthly and quarterly non-negotiables, and I will tell you about them in future, but these are more outcome based. And so the daily and weekly habits, the daily and weekly actions that I am doing for the monthly non-negotiables. The second micro habit you have to form is to make sure you plan every day. You don't want to leave your day too open, because that's where the distractions come in and you're scrolling the whole time on your phone. What I do is use a system by the 6-minute journal, which is have a main task and 2 subtasks. You can have other tasks, but the 3 are the most important for your day. Some say eat the frog, I'd rather eat cake. So my main task is the cake for the day. And that should be the task that will make you feel good, make you feel accomplished for the day. And that could be in your main job. For instance, as a multi-passionate babe, I have a main job. I've got a foundation I work in, and I'm building a foundation. And so depending on the day, one of those is the main task for the day. You have to make sure that you're very responsible and you're not just scattering yourself about and not doing the things you've promised to do. Then you have 2 minor tasks that supports the main task, which is the cake. So those minor tasks would be like the toppings, right? And so for that, you would choose another two other tasks. They don't have to be related. They just have to move the needle. You need to look at your goals before you set your daily tasks. Otherwise, you will just be doing tasks. If you're a businesswoman, that will not make you profit, or that will not make you productive. So you're always busy, but you're not productive at all. And then you can have like the cherries on top and a little task that moves the needle, very little tasks that you just need to complete. I have found that once I do this, my day is down to a T, like everything gets done, and I end up so proud of myself. In fact, I have a part of the day where I even include what I am looking forward to that day, and that could be food, that could be the show I'm watching. I leave a part on what I'm going to enjoy with my day. So I always have something to enjoy planned in my day, so that it's not just a list of tasks, but actually making my day very intentional. So for the third micro habit, we have talked about it a little bit, but you have to make sure that you're scheduling in your weekly reviews. Don't leave things to chance. You want to look at the goals you have set every week and see what progress you have made. My husband and I do this every Sunday. We sit down, we look at our goals, think of what we have deadlines to these goals. So we have a goal that has to be done by January. We have goals that need to be done by March, but we need to make sure that we are moving towards those goals. So make it fun. For us, we just sit down and do it, and just that we are sitting down, we're not focused on our phones, we're thinking about our lives, put things into perspective. So we look at all areas of our life. We look at spiritually, we look at physically, mentally, and we encourage each other. We tell each other to do better. If you know that your deadline is coming up and you have not made progress, you know you're in trouble. And even as the months go by, we're trying to see how we can fine-tune this so that it's not just a set of I didn't do that, but also make it really inspirational, make it so that the other person is actually wanting to do this, because we know that at the end of the day, this will make me a better wife, this will make me a better partner, that will make him a better husband, and together we are united in the goals that we've set and would move us forward. The reason why it's really important to do your weekly reviews is that you do not stay stagnant. If you're not moving forward, you're retrogressing. And so you want to make sure that you're looking at your goals. Where are you making progress? What is sidetracking you? What are the things you need to eliminate? What do you need to say more no's to so that it will give you the room to say yeses? What do you need to say yes to so that it will open up more opportunities for you? So you need to review your week holistically to make sure that you are actually not leaving certain things behind. Maybe you're exercising, but every other thing has fallen through the cracks. So don't just leave your goals to chance. Make sure that every week you're reviewing your goals. And because we're talking about weeks, we can segue into the fourth micro habit. The fourth micro habit is to use the 12-week year. I used the 12-week year last year and the year before that, and they have been my most successful years in my adult career and my life. And as the years move by, I'm fine-tuning this to fit my lifestyle and to fit my personal goals. You have to make the systems work for you, and the 12-week year system is perfect. Now, if you put a goal like lose 20 kilograms and you want to do it the whole year, there are merits to giving yourself that full time, but chances are, because you know how easy, like it's just 20 kilograms, and so you will think that, oh, that's not too much, 40 pounds, if I start in June I can finish. But if you give yourself, I need to do this by Q1, at least, even if you don't lose the 20, you might end up losing 10. So the goal of the 12-week year is not just to pick a big goal and break it into quarters. It is to pick a big goal for each quarter. So for instance, I just started my YouTube. I'm at 50 subscribers, but my big goal for Q1 is to make sure I get to 20k subscribers. I do not know how I'm going to do that, but that's why I'm sitting here shooting this video in the middle of my workday, because I've got an hour and a half gap and I want to make sure that I'm showing up. The 12-week year system forces you to make a move. You look at your year as having 4 years. Every quarter is 1 year for you. Are you just going to waste that 1 year? No, you want to put in systems, you want to put in the work. You want to make sure that you are moving the needle around your goals. So use the 12-week year system to set ambitious, audacious goals and work towards them. The fifth micro habit is to expand your network. I was invited to a high-level EU meeting last week. When I got into that room, I had a specific agenda. I was going to curate girlfriends. I literally walked up to people and said, hey, I'm curating girlfriends, and so would you like to be in my network? And I'll take their contact or I'll take their LinkedIn with the goal of following up. You need to expand your worldview, and one of the best ways to expand your worldview is to talk to more people. Engage with others. Listen to what makes them tick. Why did they start their businesses? Why are they in their careers? How do they learn? That is how you also form your habits. Not everything is learned in the classroom. You will learn so much from people by just engaging with them. So my goal this year is to curate girlfriends. I love girls. I'm not one of those who say that people are haters. I love to see the good in people and to walk up to people, engage with them. And this is a very important thing to note when you want to network. And this is something I learned really early. People go to events and they're just looking at the people on the stages, the people on the podium, the people who seem high and mighty. Think of the person sitting next to you. If they are in the same room as you, it looks like they have the same goals as you. Why don't you strike up a conversation with that person? You don't need a photo with the most famous person, the person on stage. Yeah, it might give you some credibility, but everyone knows it's just a photo op. So how about forming a relationship with a sister sat by you, or forming a relationship with just the entrepreneur who's just starting? Because listen, when they grow, who would know them? You would have known them from the trenches. So that's my attitude. That's the attitude I take anytime I go to an event. I want to make sure that I am networking with somebody who is at my level or slightly above my level, because you can learn something from anybody. If you want to learn how to network right, read Keith Ferraz's book, Never Eat Alone. I read it about 5 years ago and it changed everything I knew about networking. I still have to process some of the things I read in that book, and I'm going to reread it for this year. But network right, or listen to Emma Greed's podcast on networking. That also had some really good gems, and I'll link both in the description. Now, the fifth and final micro habit is to learn how to have fun. Now, you don't want to do all of this while you're miserable. You want to make sure that you're incorporating fun. So I do this intentionally by making sure that I schedule 1 to 2 intentional meetings every month with my girlfriends. Now, you would see that this goal is also linked to my idea of creating girlfriends. That's the good thing. You make sure that all your goals are linked so it doesn't look like you're stretching yourself to achieve a goal. These are micro habits, so they should come easy to you. I create fun in various ways. When I'm going out on a walk, I make sure it is fun. I'm listening to a fun podcast, or I'm listening to something that is invigorating, something that will excite me. I also love my date nights. I plan it to a T. I make sure that wherever I am stepping out, whatever I am doing, I am enjoying it. Like even shooting this YouTube video, I created a whole routine around it, making sure that I am excited, I'm moving things about, I am dressed up for it, because I know that when you have fun doing something, it makes it easier to do. And I know I said 6 micro habits, but there's a final one. For all of these things that you're doing, you need to remember who you are becoming. Now, if you haven't watched my video on identity, go back and watch that video, because you will not move a needle. You will not become who you want to become if you have not fixed your identity. You will not make progress on your goals if you have not fixed your identity. If you only focus on tasks and doing things, and you do not focus on who you're becoming. So for instance, instead of saying that I'm going running, you want to embody that. You want to say, I am a runner. Your identity should match the task you're doing. When there's a lag, that is where self-sabotage comes in. That is where you feel that you put in so much effort, but you do not get enough results. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I would see you in the next one. Thank you for being here.